Leader of the Alberta Liberal Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's time to hit this government right from the centre. Premier Lougheed took away the right of government employees to go on strike. However, he recognized that in the interest of fairness, the loss of the ability to go on strike had to be replaced with the option of going to binding arbitration. The very people who support the government with their work, nurses, teachers, support staff, legislative staff and security, and many others, including those great Albertans who rescued many in the floods, depend on arbitration to achieve fair contract. To the Premier, why do you and your Conservative government insist on attacking the very people that keep this problem?
Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased that we're going to have the opportunity to discuss this legislation in the legislature because let's be clear, Mr. Speaker, that what this legislation does is it encourages AUPE to come back to the bargaining table so that we can get the best possible deal for public servants and for Alberta taxpayers, Mr. Speaker, and we will continue to ask AUPE to come back to the bargaining table so that we can continue to bargain, Mr. Speaker.
Edmonton Centre and others, please. The interjections are really not.
It's an honest exchange.
You know that. I know, but then you provoke this side, and this side gets at that side, and then we have a little bit of confusion, and then I have to stand up here and take up your valuable time. And all it does is it shortens the speaking time. So let's get on with your first supplemental. Honourable Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my hand is a Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms brought in by a Liberal government. And two of the fundamental freedoms guaranteed to us in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms are the freedom of expression and freedom of association.
Yes, indeed.
To the Premier, very simple question here. In your former life, you fought for the rights and freedom of others across the world. So in your current life, why are you attacking the rights and freedoms of the very people you were elected to serve? Get up.
Mentioned a number of times that the bills that these honourable members are talking about will be up for debate tonight. But let it be perfectly clear. We would not bring forward any bill that we do not believe to be constitutional, and we do not believe that we're attacking the fundamental rights. We believe what we're doing is protecting the rights of Alberta taxpayers in line with the budget that was brought forward and the constraints that we said we'd put in place. We are also ensuring, in another bill, quite separate and apart from that, that illegal acts are sanctioned with appropriate sanctions.
Edmonton Centre, I'd be happy to add you to the list if you wish, at the appropriate space. Please, respect your Leader's question and respect the answer, even if you don't like it. Honourable Leader, second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, it's quite clear that the Premier is absolutely speechless in her quest to go against the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Never seen that before.
Yep.
Earlier this year, guards at the new Remand Centre in Edmonton went on a wildcat strike in desperation because their complaints of unsafe working conditions were repeatedly ignored by this Conservative government.
That's true.
And I spoke out in support of them, as did many journalists, bloggers and others. To the Premier, let me just ask you a simple question again. Could average Albertans, the media, the bloggers, say even elected officials, be fined for speaking out or writing in support?
Honourable Premier or Deputy Premier.
Mr. Speaker, let's be perfectly clear. This bill is dealing with illegal. Wildcat is a code word for illegal activity, Mr. Speaker, and this member will have the opportunity to debate. There is nothing in this bill that hampers any legal strikes or protests or manifestations. The member knows that very well. And relevant to our guards, Mr. Speaker, if there are bona fide safety issues, we have been always very clear. File an occupational health and safety complaint, and every complaint will be investigated.